Providence Municipal Court. Early morning. 9:26 a.m. The heavy wooden doors open with a slow, echoing groan, and polished marble reflects the fluorescent lights above. A teenage girl steps inside, chin tilted upward, eyes fixed on the glowing screen in her hand. Her name is Sienna Blake, 17 years old, and her entrance says everything before she speaks a single word. Designer sneakers. A handbag worth more than most monthly rent payments. Nails flawless. Hair professionally highlighted. Confidence, or something like it, radiates off her in waves. She walks with the kind of ease that comes from a lifetime of never hearing the word no. The gallery notices instantly. Some people here are nervous, some worried, some ashamed. But not her. Sienna moves as if this courtroom is merely another stop in her day, an inconvenience between brunch and new content for her social feed. Judge Frank Caprio sits at the bench, steady and thoughtful, familiar to many as the judge who listens, who understands, who gives grace where it is deserved. His presence alone quiets the room. Respect floats in the air like something sacred. Yet Sienna does not look up. She does not acknowledge the judge, the gallery, the officer, or the weight of the space she has stepped into. Her gum snaps between her teeth. Her phone remains in her hand. A single earbud stays tucked in place. This is not just another hearing. This is a moment where two worlds collide, privilege and principle. And the outcome will reshape the room. You are about to witness what happens when someone who believes they are untouchable finally meets accountability. Before we continue, subscribe to Real Judge Stories and leave a comment if you believe respect still matters in a courtroom. What follows is real, raw, and impossible to look away from. Sienna Blake did not grow up in a world of limits. She grew up in a world of soft landings. A world where mistakes were cleaned up before she ever felt the sting of consequence. Her family lives in an upscale neighborhood just outside the city. Wide lawns, tall hedges, polished stone driveways that shine after every rainfall. Her father, Daniel Blake, is a corporate defense attorney. Her mother, Elise, manages a boutique design firm that serves clients who never look at price tags. From the outside it looks perfect, and in some ways it is. But perfection, when given to a teenager without boundaries, does something quiet and dangerous. It convinces them that responsibility is optional. At 17, Sienna has more followers than close friends. On social media, she is known for posting outfits, luxury shopping trips, and casual complaints about problems most people would consider blessings. Her captions joke about being too rich to stress and too cute to care. She films herself in restaurants, in salons, in imported cars. Her life is curated, filtered, and adored by strangers who cheer for her attitude. Teachers have tried to get through to her. Counselors have called meetings. Her parents have been contacted more times than they can remember. But every incident ends the same way: a signature, a check, a polite apology, and no real change. Sienna learned early that rules are flexible when enough money stands behind them. So when she walked into Judge Caprio's courtroom, she expected the script to play out the same way as always. A fine. A sigh. A door closing behind her as she moved on with her day. She had no idea this time would be different. The clerk calls her name, case number 24T1098, Sienna Blake. Sienna does not move. She is still scrolling. Her mother, seated behind her, leans forward and whispers urgently, "Sienna. That's you." Sienna exhales loudly, an exaggerated sigh meant to communicate boredom, annoyance, superiority, and finally steps forward. She does not put her phone away. She does not remove her earbud. And she certainly does not stop chewing her gum. The gallery shifts. Heads turn. Eyes narrow. The atmosphere tightens. She walks to the podium and places her phone flat in front of her, screen still lit, notifications blinking. She does not look up. Judge Caprio lifts his gaze, gentle but firm. "Good morning, Miss Blake," he begins. Sienna glances up for no more than a fraction of a second. "Yeah, sure. Can we make this quick? I have an appointment." The words drop into the room like stones into deep water. The silence that follows is heavier than sound. One man in the gallery raises his eyebrows. A woman presses her lips together. Even the court stenographer's hands hesitate for half a heartbeat. Judge Caprio does not raise his voice. He does not show irritation. "Miss Blake," he replies evenly, "this is a court of law. I'll need your full attention. Please remove the earbud and put your phone away." Sienna removes one earbud. Only one. She does not put the phone away. "Happy now?" she asks, the corners of her mouth pulling upward, not in a smile but in a smirk. Her mother closes her eyes. Her father slowly lowers his head into his hands. Judge Caprio waits. The room waits. But Sienna does not see the shift in the air. She cannot feel the weight of what she has just set in motion. She has no idea that this moment is where everything changes. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe to Real Judge Stories so you never miss moments like this. Moments where truth, accountability, and reality cut through entitlement. And tell us in the comments below. Should every courtroom demand the same level of respect, no matter who you are? Your voice matters here. The story is just getting started. Judge Caprio folds his hands gently on the bench, his expression steady, composed. There is no anger in his voice, only a measured patience earned through decades of seeing every kind of person walk into this room. Miss Blake, he begins, I want to make sure you understand why you're here today. Sienna shifts her weight, her gaze flicking toward her phone again. Yeah. A ticket. Whatever. Can we move on? Her tone is flat. Disinterested. Almost amused. Several people in the gallery exchange looks. Some disbelieving, some disappointed, some simply stunned by the boldness of it. Judge Caprio does not react to the tone. He does not match disrespect with anger. Instead, he pauses, letting the silence settle like dust. Please remove your other earbud, he says calmly. Sienna rolls her eyes, fully, dramatically, deliberately, before pulling it out and dropping both earbuds into her handbag with a sharp flick of her wrist. She doesn't look at him. Not yet. Miss Blake, Judge Caprio continues slowly, this courtroom is a place where every person is treated with respect. That includes you. And I will ask that you also show that respect in return. Sienna finally meets his eyes, but there is no understanding there. Only impatience. Okay, sure. Respect. Got it. Can we go? I told you I have somewhere to be. Her father presses 2 fingers to the bridge of his nose. Her mother lowers her head. They know what this tone means. They've heard it before. Judge Caprio breathes in, not irritated, not defeated, simply steady. Miss Blake, he says, voice still remarkably gentle, where you need to be is here. Right now. The words are soft, but the weight behind them lands like stone. This is the first sign, subtle, unmistakable, that the balance of control has shifted. Sienna does not realize it yet, but everyone else does. Judge Caprio opens the case file, adjusting his glasses slightly as he scans the paperwork. The room is quiet, the tension now noticeable even to those who walked in late. Sienna's expression remains unchanged, bored, distant, confident that this is routine. But what comes next is anything but routine. Miss Blake, Judge Caprio says, voice steady, this is not simply a ticket. You were cited for driving 82 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour school zone. This occurred during student dismissal. The room reacts instantly, not loudly but with a shift. A sharp inhale. A tightening of posture. A low murmur that dies out quickly. Sienna's phone lights up again, but this time she does not reach for it. Her jaw shifts just slightly. Judge Caprio continues. There were children in the crosswalk. And a crossing guard on duty, Mrs. Alvarez, 67 years old. She had to step backward to avoid being struck. Sienna lifts a shoulder. A shrug. A gesture so small, yet so stunning in its indifference. So, nothing happened, she says. A woman sitting in the gallery closes her eyes as though physically pained by the words. Judge Caprio does not raise his voice. He does not frown. He simply looks at her and speaks very clearly. Mrs. Alvarez fell when she moved out of your way. She was treated for a bruised hip. She missed 3 days of work. And she has reported continued pain. Sienna blinks, but her expression does not change. Well, I didn't hit her, she says. So I don't really see the big deal. The gallery reacts. Disbelief, anger, shock, but the judge lifts one hand and silence returns immediately. Miss Blake, he replies, the difference between what happened and a tragedy was 1 second. The weight of the room deepens. Something has shifted again. And this time even Sienna can feel it. The prosecutor rises from her seat, a stack of documents in hand, her expression professional but firm. Your Honor, she begins, the state would like to introduce additional evidence relevant to Miss Blake's conduct both during and after the incident. Judge Caprio nods. Proceed. Officer Hale, a seasoned traffic officer with calm posture and measured tone, steps forward to be sworn in. He looks tired, not in body but in a way that suggests he has seen this pattern more times than he cares to remember. Officer Hale, the prosecutor asks, can you describe your interaction with Miss Blake on the day of the speeding incident? Yes, he replies. After observing the vehicle traveling at high speed, I activated my lights and siren. The vehicle continued for 2 blocks before stopping. When I approached the driver's side window, Miss Blake was recording me with her phone. A ripple moves through the gallery. The prosecutor taps a screen. Your Honor, we have the footage from Officer Hale's body-worn camera. With the court's permission. Play it, Judge Caprio says. The courtroom screen flickers to life. There is Sienna. In her car. Phone angled upward. Smile small. Eyes half-lidded with confidence. Are you serious right now? Her recorded voice says. I was barely speeding. Don't do the whole power trip thing. My dad's a lawyer. Officer Hale's voice in the video is even, respectful. License and registration, please. Sienna laughs. Actually laughs. You don't get it, video Sienna says. Nothing is going to happen. The footage ends. But the prosecutor is not finished. Your Honor, we also have publicly posted social media videos uploaded after the incident. Sienna's face loses just a little color. The screen changes. A selfie video plays. Cheerful music, bright lighting, confidence radiating. Text overlay reads. Almost ran over some crossing guard today. But whatever. People are dramatic. A hush falls. No breeze. No movement. The prosecutor taps to the next clip. Sienna again in her bedroom twirling a strand of hair. Court tomorrow. Wish me luck, I guess. They act like something actually happened. Her voice is casual. Detached. Proud. The final clip is worse. A smirk. A wink. They can't do anything to me. Daddy handles everything. The room goes still. Even Sienna is not smirking now. Judge Caprio draws a slow breath. There are no raised voices. There is no chaos. Just the silent weight of reality finally settling. And for the first time, Sienna looks uncertain. A quiet voice rises from the gallery. Your Honor, may I speak? Every head turns. Standing slowly is Mrs. Alvarez, small, gentle, 67 years old, wearing her bright crossing guard vest over a simple cardigan. Her hands tremble slightly, not from weakness but from the weight of the moment. Judge Caprio softens immediately. Mrs. Alvarez, please come forward. She walks carefully to the witness stand, steadying herself with one hand. The bailiff assists her. She sits. The courtroom is silent. The prosecutor steps back. This is not a moment for law. This is a moment for truth. Mrs. Alvarez folds her hands. I have been a crossing guard for 11 years, she begins. Her voice is gentle, accented, warm. I walk the children across the street every day. Some of them I have watched grow from kindergarten to middle school. I know their names. They know mine. They call me Miss A because it is easier to say. She smiles softly just for a moment. On that day, I was holding my stop sign. The children were waiting. I looked left. I looked right. And then I saw the car. Very fast. Too fast. She lifts her hand, gesturing the memory. I waved my sign. I stepped forward. But the car did not slow. Her voice shakes, but she continues. I'm not young anymore. My body does not move as quickly as it used to. Her eyes glisten. I thought, this is how I die. In the street. In front of the children. Sienna stares at the floor. Her jaw is no longer set in defiance. It is tight with something unfamiliar. Unease. Mrs. Alvarez wipes the corner of her eye, but keeps speaking. I fell. My hip still hurts when I walk. But that is not the worst part. She places her hand over her heart. My granddaughter saw the videos posted after. She asked me, Grandma, why is that girl laughing about almost hurting you? Does your life not matter? A hush thicker than silence settles into the room. Mrs. Alvarez turns very slowly to look directly at Sienna. I do not want revenge, she says. I want you to understand. That life, every life, has value. Mine. Yours. The children's. A moment of care can save a life. A moment of carelessness can destroy one. Her voice breaks, but only once. I came here today to say, I forgive you. But forgiveness means nothing if you do not change. No one in the courtroom moves. Not even Sienna. Sienna's fingers tighten around the edge of the podium. For the first time since she entered the courtroom, she is not chewing her gum. She is not rolling her eyes. She is not glancing at her phone. She is still. Mrs. Alvarez's words linger in the air like something living. Heavy. Real. Irrefutable. Judge Caprio leans forward slightly, not to intimidate, not to scold, but to allow Sienna a moment to respond. Miss Blake, he says quietly, would you like to say anything? All eyes turn to her. Sienna opens her mouth, but nothing comes out at first. There is no script for this, no practiced performance, no practiced shrug or dismissive laugh that fits here. Her carefully constructed image has nowhere to stand. Finally she speaks. I didn't think it was that serious, she says, but her voice is thin, fragile, cracked at the edges. I didn't think anyone was really hurt. I don't know. I didn't mean. She stops. Because even she can hear it. The words sound small. Excuses, not understanding. She tries again. I didn't know she was scared. I didn't know her granddaughter saw. I didn't know. Her voice trembles. That I mattered that much. The room remains silent, not coldly but with weight, the kind that gives a person space to face themselves. Tears form, not dramatic, not performed, but slowly, like something melting that had been frozen for years. Her mother quietly wipes her own eyes. Her father's jaw clenches, emotion rising but contained. Sienna swallows hard. I've always been told everything would be handled, she says. That it would go away. That I didn't need to think about it. So I didn't. She finally looks at Mrs. Alvarez. I am sorry, she says, not rushed, not sarcastic, not evasive. The words fall clearly. And I was wrong. A long breath moves through the room. Judge Caprio nods just once. Not in approval, but in recognition. For the first time, the person standing at the podium is not the version of Sienna who walked in here. Defended, shielded, untouchable. This is a girl realizing that her actions carry weight. And there is no going back to who she was before this moment. Judge Caprio lets a long, steady silence fill the room. Not uncomfortable, intentional. A silence meant to allow every word spoken, every reaction felt, to settle into the heart. When he finally speaks, his voice is calm, clear, unshaken. Miss Blake, he begins, what we witnessed here today is not simply a matter of a traffic violation. It is a matter of perspective, responsibility, and understanding the value of a human life. Sienna lifts her eyes. Her breathing is uneven, but she listens. For 17 years, the judge continues, you have been shielded. Your mistakes have been softened. Your consequences absorbed by those who love you. And I do not say this to condemn you. I say it because it has left you unprepared for the reality that your choices affect others. He glances toward Mrs. Alvarez, who remains seated, hands folded, eyes gentle. You did not see Mrs. Alvarez as a person that day. You saw her as an obstacle. Someone in your way. His tone does not accuse, it reveals. But today you heard her voice. You know her granddaughter's face. You know her fear. And now you cannot pretend that the moment was small. Sienna nods, tears breaking again, quieter this time. Therefore, Judge Caprio says, you will not be treated as a criminal. You will be treated as a young person who must learn what was not taught when it should have been. The courtroom leans in, gently, not sharply. Your driving privileges are suspended for 6 months, he states. You will complete 120 hours of community service, and you will serve those hours under the supervision of Mrs. Alvarez and the school crossing program. A few gasps, not harsh but surprised. This is not punishment. This is integration. You will attend a driver safety education course and you will pass a written and practical exam before your license may be restored. He pauses, letting the weight sit. You will write a handwritten apology to Mrs. Alvarez, not for the court, not for public display, but for yourself. Sienna nods, unable to speak. And finally, Judge Caprio says, you will return to this courtroom in 90 days. Not for sentencing, but to tell me what you have learned. A long breath releases through the room, not tension but relief. Not victory. Not defeat. Growth. This is not to break you, Miss Blake, the judge concludes. This is to allow you to become someone better than the version of yourself who walked through those doors this morning. Sienna closes her eyes, tears falling freely now. And for the first time since the hearing began, she is truly, deeply present. If this section is approved, we will move to the final section, Section 11, Redemption / What Happened After. Reply. Good. Next. 90 days passed. On a cool morning in late spring, Sienna Blake returned to the same courtroom. But the girl who walked through those doors was not the girl who once rolled her eyes and scrolled her phone during a hearing. Her posture was different. Her voice was quieter. Her presence no longer demanded attention, it earned it. She had spent weeks beside Mrs. Alvarez, helping children cross safely at the school. At first she had felt awkward, exposed, uncertain. But slowly something shifted. The children waved to her every morning. Parents nodded. Mrs. Alvarez spoke to her not with scolding but with patience. Sienna learned names. She remembered faces. She learned how much responsibility weighs when lives are truly in your care. And one afternoon, while the two of them stood at that crosswalk, Sienna finally said the words she hadn't been able to form before. "Thank you, for forgiving me before I even deserved it." Mrs. Alvarez smiled, warm and small. "That is how we help people become better." Now, standing once again before Judge Caprio, Sienna spoke clearly. "I understand now. I didn't just put someone in danger. I didn't respect life. I didn't respect anyone. I didn't even respect myself. But I'm learning. And I won't go back to who I was." Judge Caprio nodded. And this time, the courtroom felt full of hope, not judgment.